Hello, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm taking part in the Yes Please Papercrafts celebratory hop. So Yes Please Papercrafts is our lovely friend Karen Yagel. She's recently reached 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, and it's also the first birthday for her Yes Please buttons shop over in the States. So to celebrate, she has sent us all some of these gorgeous buttons from her store. I showed you the ones at the beginning that I selected, so she let us go onto her website and select the buttons we wanted to work with. So me being me and the time of year it is, I selected some Halloween buttons. So I selected 6 different ones, and Karen very kindly sent a couple of extras, kind of scrapbooking related as well, so it's great. So I wanted to get loads of these buttons or flares on my page, and I was trying to figure out a way to do it. I don't think I've ever used more than 2 flares on a page before, so I decided that the way to go about it was to have a kind of circular design. So I've pulled out Echo Park's Halloween Party, I think it's called, collection that I recently got from Paper Maze over here in the UK. And I really wanted to have a patterned paper background, which is something I really rarely do, but I was really drawn to this paper here. It's kind of like a really dark orange, sort of burnt orange colour with a white grid on it, but it's not a straight grid, so the lines are sort of free hand drawn, kind of wonky, and I really loved it. So I've trimmed it down by about an inch, I guess. I don't really think I measured it, on 2 sides, and then I've distressed all the edges, and I'm going to stick that down to some white cardstock. I've also cut my photo into a circle. You'll see I used a metal die as a template. The reason I didn't run that through my machine, which would have made more sense, is because I have the world's smallest die cutting machine, a manual machine anyway, that you'll see in a second, and my largest nest circle doesn't fit in it. So if I ever want anything that big, I have to use it as a template and then kind of cut it out by hand. So I've got my photo out. It's my little boy sitting, we did a little at-home photo shoot. He's holding a couple of baby pumpkins up to his eyes, which I thought was quite cute. So I've got that in a circle, and I've got a cut file that I've bought just from the Silhouette store. It's kind of a circle frame with a spider web coming out of it, and I've stuck my photo on top of that, so I didn't want to use the actual framed part in the middle. I just wanted that spider's web coming out from my photo. And I'm going to have that sitting over on the left hand side of my page, and then I'm going to work on the circular elements now. So I've got these metal nesting dies that I mentioned. The smaller ones do fit through my machine, thankfully. So I'm just selecting some of the patterned papers from the collection that I want to use, and I'm going to cut some circles out. I've gone for the darker papers, sort of more the black patterned papers, because I wanted them to show up on the orange background. And you can see how small my cutting plates are there. They are about 3 inches wide, so it's kind of like more of a pocket machine or a travel machine. Great if I was going to go to a crop or anything. But yeah, not so great for larger dies. So it's fun for my smaller ones, though it does mean I don't own a load of metal dies, to be honest. I've got a Silhouette Cameo 4, so it's not often I pull this machine out and use it. But I really couldn't be bothered to get the Silhouette set up with all my laptop just to cut some small circles. So for things like that, this machine works perfectly. So I think I'm pretty much there with my circles. I haven't cut many, just a handful from 2 of the pattern papers. I also fussy cut a spider web, you can see it over on the left there from one of the papers. I thought I might try and incorporate a couple of those, but once I'd cut it out I wasn't too keen on it, to be honest, so that doesn't make the cut. But I'm going to have these circles kind of cascading down the left hand side of my page there, from top to bottom, and then I'm going to have a smaller little cluster over on the right hand side. So just using the blade of my scissors to distress the edges of these circles, because I love a distressed edge on my page. I just love the texture it brings, and I think especially for Halloween layouts, having loads of sort of texture and distressed edges I really like. So I would normally use my little edge distressing tool, but I find it's a bit fiddly for smaller things like this, so the blade of my scissors works just as well. So I'm going to have those circles coming down, and then I'm going to incorporate more circles by using these flare buttons from Karen's shop, which, by the way, I will pop a link to in the description box below. She doesn't currently ship to the UK. I was really lucky that she offered to ship to the UK for this celebratory hop, so I was able to get my hands on some. So I was really grateful to Karen for that. So I say thank you very much. They are gorgeous flare buttons. And I'm going to pop the link down below to her store. If you're in the US, do check it out, because she's got some marvellous flares over on her shop. And I'm going to have, I think I used 4 in total out of the 6 I've ordered, so I'll keep the other 2 for another Halloween layout, because I'll have loads of photos to scrap by the time Halloween comes around. So I'm going to incorporate my flares along with my circles. I've got, at the top, I've got a black one that's got Halloween written in orange. Then just under my photo there, I've got an orange one with a spider's web and a cute little spider in. Down the bottom, I've got a white one with a black and orange haunted house. And over on the right, I've got a black one that says trick or treat. And they're just absolutely fab. The quality of them is just awesome. So I wanted to get loads of them on the page. So I managed 4, which I think is probably a record for me. So I'm quite pleased with myself. So anyway, I've got my orange background there. I'm going to add a little bit of mixed media. I'm not going mad. Patterned paper and mixed media scares me. I'm no Missy Ridden. I've tried putting white gesso on patterned papers and adding mixed media on top, and I never like it. I just can't do it. It just never looks right. So I'm keeping it simple here, and I'm just going to add some splatters for a bit of background detail. So I've pulled out a gold metallic paint. I've just watered that down. That's an acrylic paint. I'm going to add those splatters just with a paintbrush. And I'm going to do the same with black and white. Now, I should have probably done the white first. Instead, I did the black first, and then obviously cleaned my brush and made my water all black. And then when I came to do the white, I had a black brush and black paint, black water, sorry. So, yeah, not the cleverest thing I've done. So here I am trying to clean my paintbrush off to make sure it's definitely white. So the black was an acrylic paint as well. The white, I'm using watered down white gesso. I find it stays more of a white colour once it hits the cardstock or the patterned paper. My white acrylic paint tends to soak in, and then it takes on the colour of the paper or ephemera, whatever it is underneath it. So for my white splatters, I always reach for my gesso, and I'm just keeping the splatters to the areas where I'm going to have my kind of photo and my circles and my flare buttons. So down the left hand side there, and a smaller little section over on the right. So the whole way through this video so far, I've had that orange pattern paper resting on a sheet of white cardstock, and I had full intentions of stitching it down to that cardstock, but I just felt it needed something else in between. So I've added a layer of black cardstock behind it. And I just find that helps give it kind of a bit more definition. You don't lose that orange into the white background. I know it sounds a bit bizarre, but it looked unfinished to me just having the white. So I've added that layer of black behind it, and I actually think that ties the page in nicely, ties it all together very well, because I've got a lot of black on the actual layout itself by the time I finished. So I've added that black cardstock, ruffled all the edges up, and then I've stitched around the edge of the orange cardstock using my sewing machine and just a black thread. Sorry, that's just me drying my page off with my heat gun. The white gesso takes a while to dry. I wanted to carry on. I didn't want to sit and wait for it all to dry, so I just pulled my heat gun out. And now I'm going to get things stuck down. So I'm adding a layer of craft foam behind my photo. I always like to have things with foam behind them on my layouts. I love to have a lot of dimension, and especially with photos, I just find that it helps draw your eye to the photo. If it's raised off the page, it kind of helps it to stand out a bit more. So that's got some foam behind it. I'm going to stick some of the circles down flat to the page, just with double-sided tape. And then the ones that are overlapping those, I'm going to raise up on foam just to bring in a bit more of that dimension. And obviously these flare buttons have got a lot of dimension as well, so they bring in a fab amount to the page, which makes me really happy, because I love to have just those different levels of dimension and texture on the layout. So just whilst I'm sticking these last few bits in place, in my description box below, as well as the link to Karen's button store, you'll also find the list of everybody taking part in today's hop. So there's loads of fabulous, talented, scrappy people. And we're all using Karen's buttons, or most of us will be using Karen's buttons. I think a few people might be scrap lifting Karen as well, if they couldn't get buttons shipped to them in time. But you'll find that list in the description box below. If you could work your way through the hop and share the love, that would be fantastic. We all love celebrating these milestones. I had mine yesterday for my 1,500 subscribers. Like I said at the beginning, Karen's reached 5,000, which I think is just absolutely massive. That's just such a huge achievement. So it's an absolute honour to be joining in and helping her celebrate today, and an even bigger honour to be using her buttons on my layout. I just think that's fabulous that she was kind enough to send us all these buttons. She didn't even make us pay for postage. She didn't ask for a penny. She's done this all out of the kindness of her heart, which I think is just lovely. It's just, the scrappy community is just fantastic. I just love how people help each other out, and share the love, just for the love of scrapbooking really, and just we've all got this hobby in common, and it's just really lovely. So I've moved on a bit now with my layout. I've fussy cut a large pumpkin face from one of the pattern papers in that Echo Park collection, and now I'm cutting out some kind of cellophane pumpkins. This is a cellophane bag. It's like a treat bag that my son got from a pumpkin farm recently. It was full of lovely marshmallows and goodies, but it was just kicking about, and I thought rather than throw it away or recycle it, I thought it'd be fantastic to use some of these pumpkins on some layouts. And they're nice and shiny as well, which is fab. It's a completely different texture and material to have on a page. So I fussy cut a few of those and spread them around my page there. Just going to get those stuck in place now. And now I've decided I want to add a bit more detail to my background, which is typical now. I've got everything stuck down, but I've pulled out a stencil here. It's got loads of circles on it. It's kind of like got thread, almost like the appearance of having thread tied through the circles in different directions, and I thought it looked quite cool for a Halloween layout. So I've pulled that out, and I'm going to use the tiny little circle that's on it once I've got my photo stuck down properly, and I'm just going to add a few more circles with some texture paste. Now I've got white texture paste, and I've just coloured it using some black ink. I've never bothered buying black texture paste because it colours really easily, the white one, so I just do it this way all the time. And I do find sometimes texture pastes dry out, so I don't really want to have loads of different colours in my stash, all drying out and needing replacing. So I just always stick to my white one and colour it as and when I need it. I'm just getting a few of those circles scattered around there, and I've got to be careful not to smudge any of that because I know what I'm like. I'm going to give my stencil a quick clean, and then I can get back to my layout. And now I'm just flicking through the collection, trying to find some small elements that I can fussy cut to further embellish the page. And there's this lovely pattern paper with loads of tiny pumpkins on it, kind of all different shapes and sizes, well, not sizes, but different shapes. And I'm just going to cut a few of those out, and then I can scatter those around the page. And I wanted to have loads of pumpkins on this layout. You can't really see them too much in this photo because I've trimmed it down into that circle shape. But I had a backdrop set up with loads of pumpkins. I think I must have had about 15 or 20 pumpkins or something, all lined up and arranged on the scene for my little boy to sit amongst. So just with that in mind, I wanted to have loads of pumpkins on my page. So now I've got those cut out, I'm just going to scatter them around the page and raise them up on foam pads. And And then I've decided I want to bring in a bit more gold onto the page because I've added those gold splatters to my background. It just felt I wanted some more gold, and I quite like to have little like nestles of thread clusters underneath my flare. And I've got this metallic gold thread by Real Memory Keepers, and I absolutely love it. It holds its shape really well, so perfect for kind of creating circle clusters to sit behind flares. So I'm just going to add one of those behind each of my flares there. I've also added my title in just now. I've used the kind of like, I don't know if it's like puffy or epoxy, I'm not sure what they are. They're stickers from, you can see them there on the page, Pebbles Spooky collection from last year. I just realised I'd missed the dot above my eye, so I just added that back in. But I've gone with Happy Haunting. I thought that was quite a cute title for my photo of my little boy there with his pumpkins and his skeleton outfit on. And then I'm just going to finish my page off with some sequins. So I've got two mixes here by Spiegel Mum Scraps. The gold is called Shine On and On, and it's got loads of different gold sequins in it. You've got circles and stars in loads of different shades of gold. Some are kind of shiny gold, some are matte gold, some are iridescent. It's just a really stunning mix. I did it in gold and silver, and because I'm on the design team, I'm lucky enough to have both, and I just love them. I think this mix is just gorgeous. So I'm scattering a load of those around the page to bring in a bit more gold, and I'm also going to bring in some black, and for those I'm using the penguin suit mix. You get in this mix, it's got like blacks, silvers, white, clear, kind of iridescent. Another gorgeous mix, one of my favourites, but I'm using the black ones for all my Halloween layouts at the moment. So I just got a scattering of those two mixes around my page, and then I'm pretty certain that is me finished. I don't think I add anything else. So a massive thank you for joining me today and watching along as I create this layout. I hope you've enjoyed it and it's given you some inspiration. And like I said, I'll pop a link in the description box below to Karen's button store over in the US, and there'll also be that list of everybody taking part in today's hop and helping Karen to celebrate. So a massive thank you to Karen for sending me these flare buttons. They are absolutely gorgeous, and thank you for having me let me take part in your hop. A massive congratulations, 5,000 subbies is a massive achievement. And on that note, if you are not already a subscriber to my channel, please do hit that subscribe button. I'm quite a prolific YouTuber. I add several videos to my channels every week, so hopefully you like what you see and you'll find some inspiration in my layouts. But thank you again for joining me. I will leave you with the rest of the close-ups, and I'll see you next time.